Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Not Your Day Job. I have an amazing guest today, Porcelain Mills, the owner of the restaurant, the Tipsy Sports Bar in Durham, North Carolina. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for showing up. It's a bit of a heat wave, but
Whew,
I'm glad you got out.
That is an understatement.
Yeah, I'm trying to stay cool. My AC is down right now.
Yes, we had that issue. I think everybody in Durham has had that issue, whether restaurant or personal. HVAC is winning right now. We went into the wrong industry.
Absolutely. Right?
We went
They
into
making a lot of money.
They're making a lot of money these past 2 weeks. We went into the wrong
money.
industry. So
Yeah. And so, we're here in North Carolina. Are you originally from North Carolina?
I was originally born in Rocky Mount, North Carolina.
Okay.
Yes, I was born there, but I had two great parents who had two different lifestyles and different things. And I lived a good portion of my life in Rocky Mount, North Carolina, but I was raised in Germany for a little bit as well. Went to DC some. I kind of hopped around a lot just due to the careers of my mom and my dad. So I got to experience a lot young.
And, we're going to talk about you as a business owner of a restaurant. Did you pick up anything from the culture in Germany, that you kind of took as far as, building a business?
I can't say that's my go-to, but what I will say is the experience in Germany was figure it out on your own. So I remember my first time I was there, and there was this like little cafe shop, and I wanted this cheese Danish croissant. And I went there a couple of times, and they knew it was a neighborhood, so they knew everyone that came in. So the first couple of times I ordered in English, they helped me out. The third time, she would not take my order until I learned to speak to her in their language, because they felt like if you come to our country and you are here, then you also need to adapt to what our lifestyle is. And actually, as I grew older, I respected it. So I learned. So everywhere I go, I had to. So Germany, their language is a very easy language to learn, but it's a very easy one to forget if you don't continuously practice it. But what they did tell me was figure it out. You have to figure it out. Adapt to your area and where you at and go from there. And so that's honestly what I learned. And they have some great food if you know where to go. And I am a foodie person, hence why I own a restaurant. And I had to figure it out because I love their food so much. And she wouldn't. And this lady had homemade cheese Danish croissants, and they were so good. And I literally had to go back to my godfather and like get a book and figure out how to say what I needed to get what I want. So I could say that actually goes into the practice of business, not just a restaurant and in general, but that is something to take away that I could have taken from it.
That's awesome. And my follow-up to that is, do you have like a formal education in business, or was it mostly getting experience through a different career that kind of gave you the skills to be an owner?
All right. So my first introduction is my mom. She owns a clothing boutique. She's owned it for over 50 years. And so I learned from home. I naturally went into business marketing as I graduated from North Carolina Central University.
Okay,
I went
shout
there
out Central.
from 2003 to 2007. So my major was business marketing, and I double major in fashion merchandising. And I got the fashion part definitely from my mom. My dad was an entrepreneur. He had a lot of business that he did in DC. There was a big age gap between my mom and my dad. It was a 15-year age gap. And I said they say that to say that my father did a lot in the political world. So him and Martin Luther King were best friends. He did a lot of that, rallying for us, speaking for the people, making sure our culture never forgot who we were, along with those greats, Malcolm X, Nelson Mandela, all of those. So I gained a lot for both of them in both different perspectives. And so really my learning from business, I would say, really was homegrown before I can say it actually went into education formally. That's where I got mine from. But I did pursue it. I didn't know what I was going to do. I just thought I was going to do marketing. Like, none of this was on my bucket list. I just thought marketing. I love clothes. Like, Nike even offered me a job while I was in
That's
college
amazing.
to do their marketing division in Atlanta. Like, I got offers. I was just into that. But God had other plans.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, life just takes its own turns
it
many
does.
times.
Yeah.
And, I was looking up statistics about restaurants,
Mm-hmm.
and it says that, approximately 30% of businesses within the first year
Mm-hmm.
go under. So, what motivated you to kind of look past those statistics and say, I want to still build this business that I love?
I never planned to build a business. I tell everyone that. They were like, "Oh, why did you come up with this? How did you?" This was not my plan. I never had this in the plan. I'm good at building businesses for people, but it was never my plan to say, "Hey, on my bucket list, I want to own a restaurant." And that's genuinely being authentic. But as I said, God has other plans. So this happened. This worked out for me, and it's a great opportunity. A lot of people don't know I work for the government. That was my job I went into outside of college, actually. And that was a career path that I went into, and that taught me so much. But now that I'm older, I have kids. I was thinking in life, what is it that I want to do outside of just a 9 to 5? Political things have changed, the climate has changed, the world itself has changed.
Yep.
And so as you grow older, you mentally, for most part, you should change as well. And so a prayer of mine was, God, lead me into what it is that you want to do, that you want me to do. And this still was not on my bucket list, but I had did my first vision board 2 years ago, me and a good friend of mine. And I said, let's just do a vision board. Everyone's done it, but I didn't want to do it on the New Year's Eve day. I just wanted to like have my own personal time in doing it. And I'm moving right now. And I found the vision board, and on the vision board it says building your community. So that's my passion, right? So to tie that all of that to now, this opportunity came to own this restaurant, and it's in our community. It's in Durham, a place where Black Wall Street was created and thrived. Right? It's in Golden Belt campus with its own history, and that vision came into life. But when I put that up there, I had no clue. My thought was, and I still want to do this. I want to impact single moms. I want to help them. I want to help people who are less fortunate. I want to help young kids. That is my passion in real life, on how do I help those who are less fortunate than us to get in a position to know that regardless of what their circumstances is, what can we do? So that was when I put building wealth or building the community, that was my vision, not the restaurant. And so when this opportunity came for me and God put me in line to be able to do this, he was like, but this is also a way. Be this Black woman in this area, in this community, and navigate and advocate for us to really put in the forefront what Durham was based on. That is my prayer when I go into my restaurant. See, I pray. I pray when I come. I pray when I go. I don't pray just for my restaurant to succeed. I pray for the people that God bring in there. Meet them at their needs that I don't know about. Let this be a place for the community. Let them feel safe when they come here. Let them come home. It's not just about money and support the restaurant, but let this be a place that they feel like it's not that this Black woman owns this restaurant, but it's that we have this space that is for us and that is by us. And that we can come here, feel home, and everyone feels like this is a family. It's not just a typical sports bar. And that's literally my prayer every day. And that navigates me to push past, if I have slow days, that navigates me to push past the typical statistics of what a restaurant is, no matter where, whether it's in Durham, it's somewhere else in the United States. That's what pushed me past it, because my faith is what it is, and I'm loud about it. I don't shy away from it. I don't hide it. I serve a God that does the unthinkable, and that pushes me past and pushes all of us past. So that's where I don't really think about the statistics, because he doesn't even know what statistics are. Yeah. It's his own statistics. He can create that. Yeah. And that's what that does. And I have to talk to him about my fear. Don't think that, because this wasn't. I'm like, God, you know what I like to do. I understand the concept, but this is scary.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. Like, were there any kind of doubts in the beginning? But I definitely believe in like leading by faith, not by sight.
Right.
And so, but I think as humans, we're humans, right? We're not the creator. We have our own self-doubts at times. And do you feel like your faith is what rooted you to kind of keep pushing through?
Absolutely. So this comes up. I have this restaurant. I can't even tell you how. I'm owning a restaurant. I'm doing everything, changing it up, making it to what it is now. And until I opened the doors, I was like, oh, I have a restaurant. Wait a minute.
Yeah, yeah.
We're done. There's so many different things to do, right? And it was scary that the fear start coming then, right? Because I'm in the adrenaline of all of these things are happening. I have to do this. I have to do that. I have to get all this information. I have to get everything settled. I have to work with this contractor, all of those things. So my mind is just going. So then when it's a complete, I'm like, I sat there and I was like, oh, okay, I'm really doing this. I am really getting ready to open up a space that's going to feed people who don't know me, who know nothing about me. This is what I'm really going to do. And I opened in the middle of October, which is homecoming for us, right? So everything is already booked. Everyone has their homecoming plans because people are booking ahead. And I'm like, oh, was this the right time to do this? Like I didn't think this through at all. But then at the same time, God said, because I didn't ask you to, I chose to do this. Mm-hmm. So I won't mention her name, but I end up getting a call from one of the Superior Court judges in Durham. And they said, hey, we need a spot. I need to host this event. And I randomly just walked by, didn't know this place was here, gave the restaurant a call, left a message, and I called her back. And she invited every prominent person that probably exists in Durham. And we just flourished from there. And that was just like God's seal for me, and I appreciate it. And she chose to do a event that was special to her, not political reasons, but special to her and her intimate part of her side of her personal life, to host it at Tipsy, and invited people who knew other people. And we were able to create that space. And that was like God saying, you're okay. You are fine. Things are going to be just fine. I have you. Because we were in the middle of where everyone already booked. Yeah. Did everything, like in the prime season of homecoming, which is so big here, and as it should be, and it has its own history. We opened up during that time, and I still was able to get that miracle, and it just did a lot for us. And then it continued to open up doors, and then this door, and then other things, and then Tipsy is just growing into the point of where it is.
And what was that kind of time like for somebody else who's thinking about maybe opening their own restaurant? I'm sure it took a considerable investment, right? Whether it be personal funds, business loan, things of that nature. Could you talk about that process a little bit?
Absolutely. So the building itself was already established as a restaurant. So I was grateful to come in with all of that. The kitchenware, everything is really, the bones of it is built. So that saves you a ton of money within itself. So what was left to do is really cosmetic changes to change the restaurant into the vibe that I wanted it to be, what it needed to be, little things of that nature. And to be transparent, I was grateful to be able to support this on my own. My mom, going back to my mom, she owned her business for years. And I used to always hear her say that even if I don't sell anything, I don't owe anyone. And she went into that. And I always heard her say it. And because she said, you're always going to have great seasons. And then by nature, you're going to have slow seasons. And in some way, in some form, that came back in my mind when doing this. And so I could have went other routes, and I do not deter people in doing that. If they want to go get loans, or if they want to, I would honestly go, especially as a woman, and then just even as an African American, whether you're a woman or male, I will honestly look for grants first, because there are a lot of grants out there, if you really search and you really seek, that could help you with funding and starting your own business without you having to use a loan as a way, or even your personal funding, whether you have it or you don't have it. But I went into that saying, if all else fails, am I okay personally with losing this? Because it's still not a failure. I tried. You always fail if you don't try, but I tried. And so I chose that route for myself. And so at the end of the day, I can walk away. I don't have all these people that I owe. You know, I do understand that other people say use other people's money, meaning relying on loans and banks. And I'm not saying that's the wrong way. I'm not a financial expert to that extent to say that. But what I will say for people, don't look at what other people do. You can research, and you can take wisdom from other people who have been in the industry that you want to be in, but also do what's right for you, because what's right for you may not be right for someone else. A method that somebody else use may not be a method that you need to use. There's plenty of chains over here, right? I can't use their method. They are a chain restaurant.
Right.
Everyone knows them. So automatically everyone's going to flock to them. But I am a small business. I'm considered a mom and pop's boutique sports bar. I'm not a chain. I have to build that. So for me to go that route, it wasn't just comfortable for me. Yeah. So that's how I did mine. But I just say everyone just research to what makes sense for you. Is not a black and white on how you should. I just was fortunate enough to go into a building that already had its bones. So there wasn't much capital. I mean, it was a lot, but not to the extent that it could have been if it was just a bare place and I had to build it up from front to back.
Yeah. You know, it was very interesting that you talked about what your mom had talked about when it comes to not having to owe anything. And I was hearing a story about farmers, right? And people were struggling in the economy with the new presidency and things of that nature. And black farmers were saying, yeah, there's some struggle, but we're doing fine. And people were like, how? And they said, well, in our history, we never got help from the government. Never. So we're used to doing things for ourselves, our community helping each other. And so our farms may be smaller, just as you're talking about small business versus a chain of restaurants. But I know the ins and outs of my small business and what works for me. And so I think that's a very key thing to put out there. Yeah.
It is, because in reality, they push credit this, credit that. And my mom has a rule. She has a book, and she said cash is king. And people like to try to dilute the value of the dollar. But when the systems go down, right? When the ATM machines don't work, let's not forget when we had one of the banks where you can put your money in there, but you couldn't take your money out. So how do you put your money in there? It was either check or cash, right?
Yep.
So cash should be diluted, but when nothing works, it's funny how everyone to take that cash. So you have to pay attention. Like, don't look to the bigger picture. Look at what they're hiding in that. Correct. And so my mother is one wise woman. I am blessed to have her. And I just remember the little nuances and the things she used to say, and then being, running around her business after school. And I just saw a lot. And so my roots really came from there. But let's go back to my story about Germany. You have to figure it out. The farmer said we were used to never getting anything. We were used to having to sustain on our own. We couldn't depend on the government, and we had to figure it out. It's no difference than there. They were like, you're in our country, you're in our space. Thank you, but figure it out. If you want to operate and live here, then you need to figure out how it works here. And you have to take that mentality in everywhere you go. Personal, business, raising your kids, how your kids and how you have to raise your kids may not be how the next person has to raise their kids. It's unique. And with us in our culture, that is a story. It's a story that they have tried to belittle. But if we mentally change our perspective and said, but that's the most story that has the power. Yeah. So that's again why I say, let's not let them hide what Durham was and what it still is. We started that. Our ancestors started this Black Wall Street. Let's not just have a street downtown Durham showing what this used to be. Let's keep it going. And if we collectively got ourselves together as a community and as a culture, and we made sure that was loud and that was proud, and we individually built that with doing our own things and coming together in a community, is powerful.
Absolutely.
Because we're resourceful. You understand? We are beyond resourceful. And if we really grasp that, there's nothing that we can't do. One person changed a lot. Dr. Martin Luther King did what he did. Nelson Mandela as a person did what he did. Everyone else did what they did. They did their things individually, and even though they may not all agreed in certain things, they still came together. So let's bring that back. And yet we have more resources than we had before, and we can take over.
Yeah.
We can take over it. We can bring the power back in this community. Why not do that? Whether it's a restaurant, whether it's a camera shop, whether it's a bike shop, whether it's a small black coffee shop, whatever we can do, whatever that looks like, let's bring that together. And so people say, oh, you own this restaurant. And I'm like, I do. But for me, the picture of it is bigger because my mindset is bigger of what I really want. Just let this be a stepping stool for everything else. Like everything I choose to do and I want to do is community, regardless of what vessel I have to use.
Yeah. And I think with that, I've seen a lot of community-led events around. People that are young, people a little bit older, but everyone's blending in together.
Right.
Especially, when you talk about the African American community. And I think it's a beautiful thing because Raleigh and Durham is growing.
Exactly.
And I talked to some people on Juneteenth. They had an event down at, I want to shout out the Juice Bar. I can't remember the actual address, but anyway, they had a Juneteenth event, and I was really talking to people and saying, that we're building kind of those roots right now, right? A lot of people come in, move to North Carolina, move to the Triangle, and they say, there's nothing to do. Where's the events? Where's the people at? I say, I know DJs right now. I know so many people that are tastemakers, people that are running the events, people that have their own businesses. So I'm like, you're just not coming outside.
Right.
And so when I look at your business and people say, where are the Black-owned businesses? I said, there's many I can shout out, including yours. And so I love that you're building that community through your business.
Yeah, I try. And it's not just within. It's just not outside of the community. It's also within. Like even my staff, like I treat them like my kids. For the ups and downs, I treat them like my kids because as much as I love them, each one of them have their own things that I've known or I've learned to know that they want to do. And I want them to branch out on themselves. So use this time to see what this looks like. Learn the good and the bad part of it, what you should do, what you don't need to do, different things, and then take your own individual business or your own individual dreams and grow from there. If you can't support what you have within, then how can you do it outside? Yeah. As well, So it's supposed to be family inside and family outside. So that's how I look at it. But that's just how I grew up.
Yeah. Yeah. And going to your restaurant, from the first day, I always felt that it felt like home, like you said, right? Everybody's welcoming, the energy's high. And then I thought to myself, I said, that would be a good question. Was it hard in the beginning to kind of find people you were on the same page with to kind of build that family from the inside?
Yeah, it's like that is a separate interview.
Gotcha.
Look, let me tell you, that is being transparent because everyone, they don't see things the same way that you do. And that's okay, right? It can just be because I just need a job. I just need to get this done. This is my situation. So I want to get in and I want to get out. I don't really care about everything else. And that's fine. Everyone has their different circumstances, their different things that they're going through or whatnot. For me, I have a standard. And this is what I want. Because when people experience me, I want you to understand that this is the experience that you're going to get. And everyone's not meant to be me or the next person, but people come in either whether I'm there or I'm not there, and they just get to say, hey, this feels great. Like it's a consistency of feeling great. I'm really big on customer service. I don't play about that. My mom's place was a safe haven, even though it was a place for clothes like the barbershop. You go in, you're hearing about everybody's problems, you're hearing about every great thing, all the challenges. It was the same. I used to see people come to her, have an appointment, and they just sit on the couch and they break down because whatever marital issues they may be having, whatever issues they may be going through with the transition of their kids, whatever financial issues they would go through. My mom just wasn't a person that provided great clothing for them. She also provided a place where they felt safe. They felt like home. They felt like family. Like as I grew up, people would be like, I remember when you were in your mom's stomach and, she was spitting all over all over the shop, but still trying to serve us. That's how long they've been with her. They feel like they grew up with us. And my mom lost a brother. And I call him Uncle Ruben. So hi to Uncle Ruben. He's so amazing. He's not blood, but he's basically, you can't tell me different. And he spoke at my uncle's funeral, and he said that the birth family taught them that blood goes beyond the genetic DNA makeup. And it really sat with me, because what he said is, I wasn't y'all's family, and you can't tell me different. You have gone through transitions with me. You have gone through transitions with my kids. You have just gone through life transitions. And it wasn't just them. It was just everyone. And I witnessed that. And that was just a place people just wanted to be. It was unique. It was different. So I say that to say is it's the same thing in the standard that I have for my business, because how you treat people is how they will remember it. The food can be amazing. It can be top notch. But if you have horrible customer service, if you don't feel welcome, people are going to be like, I don't want to do it. Yeah. People are more willing to give grace on mistakes because you made them feel so great, because you authentically treated them so well, right? And I stand on that. So it can be a whole lot of things, but what I do not do is play with my customer service. So to go back to your question, that is one of the hardest things to have sustainable in a business, especially in a small business. So anyone that's looking to own a restaurant, staffing is not easy, because a lot of people will go to a chain restaurant and respect their rules and how they want their restaurant done before they would ever respect someone that owns it individually.
That's true.
That is very tough, because they just feel like, oh, it is what it is. I can do what I want. It's just one person. And it's unfortunate. It's a mentality.
Yeah.
But that's what it is. And so that's one of the hardest. So at first, transition was awful. That was probably the biggest stress that I had, but I took it to God. I'm still building a team, but the team that I do have now was perfect. God removed what needed to be removed, and he put in place what I needed. And then I just asked him, hey, you bring in people as you see. If I just have to work with this little that I have, and you make it a lot until you feel like more need to come, and that's fine. And sometimes you have to do that. Because people are like, when do you go home? I can't right now. I don't. Let it go. You came in there and asked me that. I can't. This is something that I'm building and I'm growing. And people are going to treat your business how they want to, but they definitely going to treat your business the way you at least treat your business. If they see that you don't care, they already halfway come in like it is what it is. But not everyone, but some people. And then you act like you don't care and you're not there. You can't do that. I'm not even a year in.
Yeah.
I'm married to the business. I'm married there. And that's just how it has to be sometimes. But that's one thing I will say, staffing and that's anywhere. It's just not easy. You go to different places and say, hey, please, you have to do this way because we're understaffed. And I don't know if it's a generational thing. I'm not sure. People don't want to work this day. They want the money, but they don't want to work.
Yeah.
And then the climate has changed.
Yeah.
But it was a very rocky start. It was a very, very rocky start. That was probably one of my biggest stresses, and I just didn't understand. And I went and actually I sat down with the head chef at Capitol Grill, because I was like, is it me? Can you help me? I was in tears. I was like, I don't understand. Like, I'm not mean to these people. I'm so nice. I do this, I do that. It's not that hard, blah, blah, blah. Help me. And he said, I literally went through 20 people that they interviewed today and hired no one. And he said, it comes when it comes. Because I just didn't understand. I didn't. And then when I do get people, they get upset with you for different things. It's just the nature of it. And that's just the nature of business, and definitely in hospitality. But I learned. I got through it. I just said, look, it is what it is. If I have to be here every day, then I just have to be here every day. And God, slowly but surely, he has definitely winged out what didn't serve the business. And he has given me what does. And that I'm grateful for. Because like I said, I'm not just building a restaurant. Yes, people, please come support me. Please.
Of course.
Please come. Please come eat. Please come drink. Please. But it's bigger than that. I want my people that are there to birth. Like, I have a woman-led chef in the kitchen. Shout out to Daria. She's amazing. I have cooks in there that are very talented. And so I give them the creativity, because you don't have to just be stuck to me. I love you guys. Thank you. Amazing. But birth yourself to actually become what it is that you want. You may want your own food truck. You want to maybe be the head chef of your own restaurant. You may want to curate different things. So I want people that help me, that serve me, but this is a place that serves them and that inspires them and that motivates them to also, like I said, within house, to do what it is that they want to do. And then they can train the next batch of people that is meant to come in and get inspired, or to be able to do what they need to do. So, that's harder than the financial part, to be honest with you. Staffing.
I was going to ask that, because you also talked about chains before, right? And there was like a statistic that came out when people were talking about robots taking over jobs and like fast food and things of that nature. And people said, oh, they're going to take the jobs away from us. And then McDonald's and a couple other big companies put out their statistics and said, do you know it costs us more money to try to hire people than to go and put a robot in there?
It is.
Because there's so many people that will go to that job, especially young people nowadays, and we'll train them. That costs time and money. We'll give them their uniforms, all that stuff. And then within 2 weeks, they're gone.
They're gone.
They don't stay. They won't even do a 2 weeks. Hey, no, they just don't show up.
Yeah.
And so it just reminded me that I'm sure it's even harder for you.
Definitely. Let me tell you something. And this doesn't even have to do anything with race. Just as a Black woman, okay? Or, I mean, not really Black woman, but just as a woman that owns a business, people feel like they know more than you. And like I said, this wasn't on my bucket list. I'll tell everyone. They were like, oh my gosh, how did you get into this? I don't know. I didn't choose.
Yeah.
I didn't choose this. It chose me. Okay, I'm going with the assignment. And they were like, well, you don't know what you're doing. You don't know this and you don't know that. And this, that, and the third. Baby, do we not remember that Google, and he was in a small place in his apartment, and it took him how many years? And look how successful he is now. I don't care if I know, if I don't know. It's nothing that somebody can learn. If this is your assignment, if this is what you're chosen to do, or even if this is something you wanted to do and you never know, get out there and do it. But at the end of the day, if it's yours, you own it. You grow as your business grow. You learn, you do things. It doesn't matter what the type of the business is, but people are comfortable and feeling that way, but yet they have nothing to offer. You know, and that's not everyone. It's just the dynamics of where we are and how things go. And I take it, I learn. And like I said, staffing is probably, if someone talks to me, I said, that is harder than the financial part. I will face the financial part any time of the day.
So you also mentioned something else in there that I have gotten plenty of times. And it's only with the women that I talk to, which is somebody coming through and just saying, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. And I just think on an even keel, there's a lot of people getting into new businesses, man or woman. You don't know what you're talking about. You figuring it out. And I had a DJ on here. I've actually had a couple women DJs, and they said, do you know how many times there's been like a man who I guess happens to DJ or knows something that comes around in the middle of the party and says, oh no, you're doing it wrong, and touches their board, not even asking. And so, have you had those experiences with people?
Yes, no boundaries. So I either deal with women who are like, she has a business, she's doing this, disregard it. They have a problem with it, whether it's their own issue, whatever it is, insecurities, doesn't matter. And the thing is, if you know me, I'll tell you everything. I can tell you about myself. I can give you the good. I can give you the bad, because you're supposed to teach each other. I'm really big on that. No one's perfect, but I'm really big on that. You don't have to say, oh, she's a business, you have a problem with it. Well, it's not my problem. But if there's something you want to know, I would love to help. I would love to tell you, So I have women who think that I shouldn't do this, I don't deserve it, I don't know it, or they feel like they know more than me, or they feel like they can do this better than I can. And you might can. I'm not knocking
then
it.
go do it.
But it's okay. That's
Right.
not even my thing. It's okay. Maybe you can. I have men who think they can dummy me down and tell me how I should. They can come and say, hey, I want to use your venue for this, but this is how it needs to be. And then they'll throw out, oh, well, you're new, so we can help put you on the map and this, that, and the third. And you might can. And I do not knock it. And I do appreciate that you thought of me, but you're not going to tell me what works for my business.
Correct.
You can maybe guide me. You can maybe approach me and say, hey, this is an idea that I have, or this is what has worked, and show me that. But when you tell me and you think that because you should summons me and you should enforce your authority because you are a male, that this is how it should go, it just doesn't work for me. Because I may be new to the restaurant, but baby, I'm not new to business. And see, that's what people think. Business is what it is. There's just different things that may apply based on the type of business, but business is business. Numbers are numbers, and what makes sense, and what doesn't make sense, doesn't matter where it is. And so I get that a lot, and it's unfortunate. You've experienced me some, right? And so you know how I am. Every time you came, you were consistent. I was consistent. I never knew when you were coming. But what I will say is I'm such an empathetic person. Like, I take on what people have going on. I want to help. My ministry is serving in whatever way. How can I help you? How can I cover you? What is it that you need? Like, I am a type of person where I would sacrifice myself, even if I don't have nothing, and do whatever to make sure somebody's okay. That's just my heart. But what I will say, that in this business, as much as I stand for, we're going to build this community, even if I try to build it myself and get it back, I have also had to really toughen up in ways. And then when you do that, which is warranted, they also look at you, see, you're an emotional woman, you're a bitter woman, you can't mix emotions in business. Am I mixing emotions in business, or am I saying I am a woman, but I know what I want? And I know what's not okay. Is that being emotional, or is that being matter of fact? But what you don't do is respect someone who is a matter of fact, that is a woman. So now I'm emotional. Yeah. And you know what? That's so cool. Not a problem. And I had to learn that, because I would carry that. I would carry those things because I wanted everyone to be happy. I wanted to please them. But I had to learn that I can't do this, especially in this industry, because I have to think of the longevity. I have to think of the future. And if this is how you are and it's inaccurate to what's going on, then I can't fix that. And I had to learn that had to be okay. So that was a part of me having to grow as a person, and then as a person in this business, in this industry, because I get it a lot. I get it a whole lot. And it's funny. I had this couple come, they were like, oh, so they own a bank.
Okay.
They said, did you get the loan from our bank? I said, no, I didn't. I did it myself. You know, it's the others, the jaws just dropped, because they just can't believe it. And then it's offensive. It was offensive that you asked me that, number one. But it's offensive that I gave you my response and you didn't like it. You understand what I'm saying?
Yep, absolutely.
And then it's go, well, what do you do? I have worked for the government for 17 years. I have worked for the federal government for 17 years. I have worked on special missions for years. I have been taken away in my 20s and had no life, and was isolated in a space with 4 other people because we were supporting different things for the war. You don't know what I came up with. You don't know what I learned. So I chose to do wisely with my money. So, hey, an opportunity came. You don't know my story. You don't know where I came from. You don't know what I did. So it's not offensive that you assumed I had to do this. this way. It's offensive that I didn't do it in the way that you thought. I get that all the time.
Yeah, and the reaction too. It's kind of like, okay, you asked, I told you,
Yes.
you accept that fact, but you couldn't accept it.
They don't.
Yeah.
They don't. A lot of times I'm in there, you thought I was a server. And there's nothing wrong with that because, baby, I love my servers. Couldn't live without them. But you did not know I was the owner.
No,
Until someone says something like, can I, who's the owner? And I'm just like, I am. And it's mixed. It's like, oh my gosh, you work this, you do that. And then other times it's like, you're the owner and you're out here feeding us. Should I not? Why not? This is what we're supposed to do. Yep. Like, let's change our mentality. Like, let's not be untouchable to each other. Let's be reachable to each other. Let's take those what titles away and what that should be. You understand? We all bleed the same. You understand? Why act so above everyone else when, especially the generation that's coming after us, they need us.
And I think that's very interesting where it's kind of like, damned if you do, damned if you don't. And I find that crazy because there's so much information out there. I've seen, I think it was CNBC make it. They do these little shorts for businesses. And I saw like a Black woman wanted to open up a bakery shop and wanted to have high quality stuff, not just regular stuff. And she got featured. She's in there. She's in the kitchen. She's kneading the dough. She's doing things, and I feel like it's normalized, but I feel that most people will never be a business owner. Most people will never be. Most people don't want to make the sacrifices you've made. And most people would love to be the owner, but they don't want to put any work in.
That's an owner. A true owner is putting in the work. And they don't understand that. And then instead of having respect for that, which for me, and it is no disrespect to anyone, whether you respect it or you don't, it doesn't matter to me. It's just who I am. But one time, one of our cooks in the middle of a high rush brunch fell ill. He could not and had to go. I had to jump back there and cook. And they were like, oh my God, I didn't know you could cook. I'm like, absolutely. I had manned that kitchen by myself one day, and my server, I remember she was like, are you okay? Do we need to close? No, we're not closing. We're not. This is what a part of it. It's not just saying, it's not just the title. Like sometimes you have to get there and clean the toilets. I mean, it is great and it is nice to have someone do it. I am not going to lie to you. But at the end of the day, when you're starting your own business, when you are counting your pennies and every penny count, you have to be the janitor, the bartender, the cook, everything that you need to be, the server, everything. And that is a part of it. It's not just saying it. It's actually doing. It takes work. It's not just signing a piece of paper and say, hey, here, you go here, you do this, you do that. Yes, you earn your time to do it. But especially in this business, you have to be tangible. The part of why people feel like it's home is because of the person. It's not of the building. It's not of the business.
Yes.
It's the person. It's the people that's in it. And it's the character of those people and how they make you feel. And so when you give that's what that shows out into your community and to your customers. And people don't understand that. I'm just like, hey, you have to get in here. I have looked like somebody's tired mama for a long time. Bun just all over the place, bags under the eyes, everything. Everyone is just like, are you okay? Yes. I mean, this is a season that I have to dedicate. So these other things aren't that important. This is important. And this is where I'm at, where I have to stay longer than everyone. I have to do everything. I had, at some point, I had no one working. I had 50 people come in on me at one time by myself. And I was grateful for it. I was also new. So I was like, oh no, I can't. I don't have a bartender. I have a cook back there, one cook, and that's it. I didn't have a server, and it was literally 50 people. Wow. And I said, okay, God, we got this. And I know that sounds crazy to the saints because I said, Lord, you're going to have to help me make these drinks behind the bar because, baby, I was like, oh, That's not my strong suit. Okay. At home it is, but certain things.
Yeah.
You know what I did? I say, I got this. I told them, I said, hey, I am so grateful that you guys have chosen to spend your time and your money with me. I'm honestly going to let you know that it's just me here. So if you could help me and if you could order at the bar, but I would definitely get your stuff to you. They all clapped and said, the fact that you just communicated with us was everything. When I tell you, I don't know how I love a good espresso martini, but God downloaded with me. I don't know. Back there making drinks. I was like, whew, doing what I need to do, and had the most perfect night. The most perfect night.
That's
Not
amazing.
one complaint. Everyone was happy. Like everyone came back. And these are still standing customers to this day. Out of that group, I had 4 people do different individual events who brought more people to my business. You have to do, it's not just a title, it's the action behind it. And a lot of people don't see that. So they have all these things to say, and like we said, I have a story, but they don't know the story. They don't know what comes behind it. And it's a sacrifice.
That's why I believe treating everyone with kindness, because you don't
know who it
You don't know what
is.
they've been through. Like behind so many smiles
Mm-hmm.
and people that I've met and become friends with over my years, then I have them, we get comfortable, we
Mm-hmm.
become close friends, and I've had some stories told to me and I'm like, you went through that?
Didn't know. Did not know. And that's what I tell people. I say, you have to be careful. You don't even know what they went through, but you also don't know who they are.
That's
See,
true.
let me tell you something. People aren't, you can't just look at someone on the outside and say, oh, they have this on, they have that, they have this, they're somebody, right? They may honestly just be wearing all that they have.
Yeah.
But you have someone that comes in with some Walmart shoes, a basic t-shirt, and they may have a Rolodex of a network that is everything that can change someone's life. You never know, and you don't know. And I tell people, you have to, and that's something I drive in on my front of house staff. You don't know who comes into this building. You don't know who's sitting. You don't know who they are. You don't know anything. So you need to treat everyone with the same respect. I don't care if it was President Barack Obama to the janitor that works in our complex. You treat everyone with kindness and decency as if they're royalty, because they are, regardless of what their title is, regardless of what they do, and regardless of where they are in life. You don't know.
Yeah.
I've had lunch shifts, honestly, where it's only 3 people came in there, but they were the most powerful 3 people in the network that I needed. And you don't know where they have opened up opportunities for me. You just don't know. And you have to be careful on how you treat people. And I tell people that, because you never know later down the road when you need them.
Yep. Absolutely. I had an experience like that. When I was younger, maybe like 16, working at Best Buy.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember it was close to closing time and people were like, hurry up with this customer. They were like whispering to me, yo, you need to hurry up. You need to. And I'm a Southern boy. I'm slow. That's just me. But I knew my people in my small town area. I knew. And so this couple comes in and lays in a, just regular like sundress. And her husband comes in, very dirty, worker boots, construction overalls, stuff like that. They were like, oh, they prejudged them. Like, they don't have any money or anything. What are they doing here? They're wasting our time. We're trying to close. Man, I talked to that man. I talked to his wife for about 2 hours. They looked at a computer. We talked about things. He said, oh, yeah, I want to look at a TV. Went over there, looked at a TV. That wasn't even my section. Came back, he said, I want that brand new 4K TV, that big one. And he said, I also want the biggest laptop, that one that you showed me. He said, I want that one. And we were checking out. He bought the protection plan, all that stuff. And it was a big bill. My manager was like, oh, okay. Meanwhile, you were the one rushing me.
Right. And now you're happy.
And the guy said to me, when my manager walked away, he said, I appreciate the way you treated me and my wife. He said, because most people look at me when I come off work, this is the time that I have to go do this with my wife. He said, what they don't know is that my best friend is the one who constructed and built this entire complex that the Best Buy's in. He said, you see the TJ Maxx, the Verizon store, and the Starbucks next door? My company built that. He said, "This is nothing to me," and I was like, "That it just taught me you don't know who you're talking to.
You don't.
You don't."
And my mom, I so people. I never grew up with the struggle of saying I didn't have food to eat. I had to worry about that. I'm not ignorant to that is a story for people. I'm not ignorant to that. Um, but I never grew up that way, and I can't say that. But my mom did, and my dad did. And even though they changed the generation for me to not do that, they still taught me the character of it. So I'm going to give this example. We went out of town one day, and during that time, so I'm aging myself, we could bring like any type of food on the plane. We can't do that now, but we can bring any type of food. Yeah. So we had like a pound cake or whatever, and you brought it. And so we got to the hotel, and I wanted my pound cake with my little pigtails. I was just running around just being me. I'm the only girl, so I'm the baby, all those things. And so we threw it away. And the maid came in, the housekeeper came in from the hotel, and she said, "Hey, are you guys done with that? It was in the trash." And they were like, yes, thinking that she just wanted to throw it away. Like, take the trash can and throw it away and, discard of everything that was in it. She asked if she could have it. And it's me. And I'm just like, what? We have all this pound cake over here. You can have it. You can have it. Like, blah, blah, blah. I was not raised to be selfish. I'm a big giver. And when she left, I said, "Dad, why would she want to eat it out of the trash can?" And it was the most impressionable moment for me. My dad died when I was 7. And he said, people grew up in different ways. And so we were out of town. We were out of the country. And he said, "Let me do something." So he took me to the poorest part of the country and showed me how people lived. And I only was 6 years old. And he said, "It's not saying that it's their fault. It's not anything of that nature. But sometimes people just didn't get the opportunity or had the means to better themselves. This is what they have." And so he said, "You have to choose what it is that you want to do. Do you let your circumstances keep you where they are, or do you go after more?" And so it just stuck with me. Because I hated that, right? So honestly, like, I am the one for Christmas, holidays, it's just a regular day. I want to go feed the homeless. I want to do whatever. I want to give this. I want to give that. That is me. Because even though I may have grown up being blessed to not have that type of story, my parents were big on raising me. You need to figure it out on your own. We may have this, but that doesn't mean it's just easily given. And so people have always judged me and said, "Oh, she's good. She was raised with a silver spoon in her mouth. She was this, that, and the third." The crazy part is I can outwork anybody. Mm-hmm. I can do anything. And if I can't, I will figure it out. I am not afraid of work. I'm not afraid of getting in there. My mom used to get mad at me because in college, I wouldn't come home for the summer. I worked 2 jobs and still went to summer school because I wanted to double major and I wanted to finish on time. You cannot outwork me. I could have easily gone home and I could have easily said, "I want this. I don't have to do this. I can do this trip. I can do any of those things." I learned, I didn't take that and say, "I'm just going to live this easy life." I took that so I can figure out how to build one on my own, because at the end of the day, our parents aren't always here. It comes a time and a place that they are no longer going to be here. That is the cycle of life. And so I can outwork anyone. And even though I didn't have a struggle where I had to figure out where I had to eat or where I was going to get my food from or where I was going to lay my head, that does not mean I didn't struggle in other ways. And people don't realize that. People don't understand that I almost was kidnapped when I was younger because of jealousy, because my parents, we came from a small town and people, they hated that. But if you knew my mom, if you knew my parents, they would give you anything. They would do anything for you. They would find a way. If they couldn't do it, they would be resourceful. They don't understand that. They don't understand that when as soon as my daddy died, that I was taken advantage of. The mental part of what I had to do that. So then they took a safe space from me where I looked at things differently. That now that I am a mom of 2 kids, that anxiety years later came back when I had my own child, to the point that I didn't even want my family to touch them. But because I didn't grow up without knowing where I was going to stay or had to go through those things, which I am not ignorant to it. I'm very sensitive to it. That doesn't mean people don't have their own struggles. People don't understand that I would have given anything materialistic to have my father back in my life. He was so impressionable to me that even as he died when I was 7, I remember details that most people don't mean. That's how much he impacted my life. So people look at me and was like, oh, she's just fine. She did this. My mom didn't even know I was doing this business. I did this on my own. She didn't even know until months after it was open. It was something that God did, and it was between him and I. Besides who probably end up finding out, it wasn't something that was shared. This came from me. This came from my hard work. It came from God. Excuse me. Let me correct that. But it wasn't something given. That just wasn't me. The way I was raised and the things that I went through, it just taught me a lot. And I'm so opposite of what people try to make and paint and portray. You understand? I could have grown up and been a brat and I'm this and all these things. For what? What does that do? What does that do for you? How does that impact anybody in your life? That's ugly inside. And I just don't believe in that. And then the things that I went through, I am a person, and you can even ask my staff, I'm the cuddly little, hi, how are you? I'm gonna whoop your tail if you don't do what I need you to do in my restaurant. But as a person, like, because if I could get that man back in my life, you could have any and everything. I would live in a box.
You can't take it with you.
Because you can't. And that's what they taught me. You understand? When the things I've learned about my father and the impacts that he made on his own, and with MLK, with Dr. MLK, with President Bill Clinton before he became who he was, with Coretta Scott King, with Nelson Mandela, with all of those things. It wasn't about those people, it was the things that they were doing and they were fighting for. That, and I learned as I grew older, and to the point that life was taken from that, it just changed. It molded how I look at things. It's molded how I feel about people, how I treat people. So even people do the worst things to me and they're like, are you okay? And I'm like, let people be who they are. Mm-hmm. As long as who I am, that's why I teach my kids, be who you are. You be happy with someone that you're going to be okay with waking up to in the morning every night, that you can sleep in peace because of who you are. This world is not perfect. It is very ugly. It doesn't matter how genuine, how great, how much integrity you have. This world is ugly. Look at what we're going through with the missing young boys. Look at the boys that are killed. Look at the young man that is arrested for defending himself. Look at that, right? That is something that is absolutely real, but you be okay with you. Yeah. And how you move. If you're okay with being an ugly person, baby, that is your choice. But we always want to choose the latter. And I can just go into so much deeper of things that people just don't understand. Not growing up with a struggle became a weapon that people used to use against me, which became a story and a struggle for me. If my family didn't teach me my identity, if they didn't support me, if they didn't love me, even within family of my family, who treated me like I was an enemy out of whatever personal feelings that you had. But what they didn't understand is our doors was open for anyone. It wasn't even about financial things. It was more so the love that was given. That's what people rejected. Because instead of choosing to embrace it, they rejected it. And then that became such a struggle for me. I had to, from teachers accusing me of stealing, had nothing to do with me. It had something to do that I was from Rocky Mount, North Carolina, and I was a young black kid who did not look like as she was raised in the hood. That I had to change schools constantly. For my own peers, I wasn't black enough for them. In the white culture, I wasn't white enough. I wasn't white in the first place. So that wasn't going to fit.
Right.
No disrespect. You understand? That wasn't. But that people wanted to isolate me and create their own narrative and their own persona for themselves instead of embracing and understanding who I was. But that helped me become a great business person.
Yeah.
It molded me. Now, what I will tell you is I definitely got therapy because I needed that. I needed that place. I needed that place. It got to a point I said, nope, I need to address these things so these things don't hold me hostage for the life that I have. And I have 2 kids I'm now responsible for. So I need to also, the same way my family chose to break a generational curse where we didn't live in poverty, I needed my kids not to have an emotional poverty carry for them. See, poverty is not just financial. And I needed to take those same concepts and those same things that were given to me and bestowed upon me, and I need to use it to what was accurate and applicable for me and my family, because now I'm responsible for raising these 2 kids until it's time for them to do their own. So I had to make sure that I got that together, because that was something that became a part of a story, and I don't want that to carry for them, so they can have the same openness to be able to rally however they needed to rally for their generation or whatever help, because that's how we were raised. My mom's place wasn't just for fashion; it was a place where she served and she healed people. And I pray also that Tipsy Bull is that. Yes, it's a sports bar and grill, but it's a place where you feel like I can just woosah. And I get that a lot. I just have customers that text me now and be like, "Can we talk? Can I meet you? Are you there?" They don't get anything. I don't care. They just want to talk. They just want to let it go. And
that's beautiful. And but I also think, that with you having to wear all these hats, right? You've been the chef, obviously the accountant, the marketing specialist, like everything as an owner, and then you carry this important weight with you where you want to really establish something for your community, establish something for your kids. But when do you have time for you?
So I get fussed at a lot about that, between my mom. She does very well, because she said, "You're turning into the young me I was." She lost her husband. She had to raise me. She had this business, and she also had her parents that were declining. And even though she was the baby of the family, she held a lot of weight. And she said, "Baby, this is not okay." And she said, "You're going to collapse." She said, "If you don't get this together," she said, "you're going to collapse and you need to figure it out." And I said, "Oh, I got this. I'm okay. I'm fine." And then, Alexia, when was it? It was like a month ago. I almost passed out at the restaurant.
Oh no.
Yes. I ended up in the hospital. And they said, "You better get it together." I said, "Okay." So yeah, I got to get it together. Because if my kids weren't with their family at that time, what was I going to do? I just honestly, I just thought I had a stomach ache. I was just like, "Oh, I'll be okay."
Yeah.
I woke up, I was like, I'm not okay. I'm not okay. Something's not right. And I tried to continue on throughout the day, and I ended up almost collapsing. I had to be hospitalized. And I said, okay, if God gave me this opportunity, then I need to take a step back and readjust some things.
Yeah.
And I did that. It didn't happen overnight, but I did it. And there's a couple, Jen and Marcus, God gave them to me to help me with my restaurant in a great time. And they've been a blessing to me that allows me to be present, but be okay with not being present at times. Because this is my baby. And I want it handled well. I'm big on the integrity. And I want that seen with every person that comes through. And no one's perfect. Mistakes happen, but I'm really big on that. But that happened. That was my wake up call. God gave me them. And I am slowly but surely making changes. You have to create that. You have to make sure you pause and you take a moment, because you will wipe yourself out before you even get started. And honestly, that's what was happening, because I was just so attached. I was just so there all the time. I'm just like, oh, this, and it's not even trying to micromanage them. It's just the business. Like this is new, and this is mine. And I want it to do well. And so I have to, and I am learning to create that space. But if I can give anybody advice, create that space in the beginning. Just go ahead and create it to avoid. Things are going to happen and it sucks. But even with things that have happened with mishaps with customers, somehow God puts me back in place with them, and I get to talk to them, or I get to rectify it if I wasn't there. And they're like, oh, okay. And so I had to learn to relinquish, because God gave me this, right? Yeah. And so now I'm like, okay, thank you, God. I'm here and I'm praying, I'm saying my prayers, but I'm doing my thing. And he's like, come on, baby, come back over here and let me lead.
And many times we try to follow our own path.
Right. Like I was following him, and somehow I just kind of ran. I was like, skirt.
Yep.
And he's like, yeah, skirt your behind right back behind me. And I said, okay, I got it. So that's where we are now. So what I will say is, for sure, create that space for you. But it's not easy. It's not difficult. I mean, it's a very difficult process. But I do. I do it, especially for my babies, because they low key work there.
Absolutely.
We run around. We put them to work. But yeah.
And how long has the Tipsy Bull been open now?
I'm going on 9 months.
9 months. So we're
I'm not
almost
even
to a year.
Almost to a year.
Right, but everything is going great. I mean, I've seen you featured by, what was it? A radio host you were showing me, or somebody that came by, somebody very prominent.
Spectrum. Was it the Spectrum News? I had the Spectrum News. I've had a couple of big influencers. Not even, and here's the thing, I have reached out to no one. So word of mouth, look, you can go with the new marketing tools all you want to, and I do believe in them, but word of mouth is always your best advertisement. Radio host, help me remember.
I thought it was like a radio personality, I believe a woman, or maybe you were having one of your events that they came to, and they put out a video and was like shouting out the Tipsy Bull, and it was just nothing but positivity and love. And I've seen other people do the same. Yes. And so my point to that is that the fruits of your labor paying off naturally, as you said. Like your word is getting around in the community. People are saying that's the spot to be. And, also let's talk about some of those events. So what are some of the events that you've had? Because I know a woman that worked there, I forget her name. But she told me, she's like, you got to come through. On Sundays, we got this. On this day, we have that. So what are some of the events?
Yes. So Tuesdays, we have free tacos, unlimited. It is a $5 entry, but it's unlimited free tacos, chicken and beef, authentically made street tacos. Just come have fun. $5 margaritas, $5 shots. On Wednesdays, we have our infamous game night. That is free entry. It's from 7 to 11. So tonight is Wednesday. So we're playing bingo. Okay. Next Wednesday, we're doing Drunken Twister. I'm not too sure. I'm getting a little older, guys, so I'm not sure if I'm going to play that one, but
Got you.
But it's going to be a fun time. So we have 99-cent wings on Wednesdays. We do $5 margaritas on Wednesdays, and we have other specials. We have our infamous fried lamb chops on Wednesdays. Okay. Yes, amazing. That is one of our signature staples at Tipsy Bull, and that is from 7 to 11. We also have Uno, Connect 4, Dominoes, Jenga, Spades, and a couple of, we add new games every so often. On Fridays for our older corporate crowd, but for anyone, we do from 8 to 11. We just have R&B with DJ XL.
Okay.
So 50% off appetizers, drink specials as well. Just kind of unwind and chill. On Saturdays, we're open every day from 11 before I go on, from 11 to 9, unless it's an event day like Wednesday or Tuesday. Um, and on weekends we open at 12. But then on Saturdays we have different events from 10 to 1. And then Sunday we have brunch every Sunday from 12 to 4. So,
Awesome.
yes, everything is homemade. Everything is made in-house. Most 95% of our sauces are made from scratch. We do everything fresh, nothing frozen,
Oh, that's gonna be appreciated.
integrity all the way through.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Well, having no other way. I mean, Durham
Yeah.
has a lot of great restaurants, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of great black-owned restaurants, and I mean, you just can't beat the flavor that black
Right.
people got, and the
You
food,
can't.
right?
You
So,
can't. The sauce is there. We have it. It's not us. It's in us.
yeah, that's it.
So
You know, what is something that you wish you knew before becoming a restaurant owner?
that's a list.
Give me your top three if you could.
What I wish I knew. The good and the bad that would come with it. There is more good, I would say, that I've experienced than the bad. And I'm more say, like we talked about earlier, their perspective. Um, the amount of time that I really was going to be there, as a single mom of two, that I knew how hard. I knew I've had family members who owned a restaurant, but I was there, but I wasn't there. And I was younger, so mindset has changed. But as a single mom of two, and I'm not the only single mom, just the dedication. Like, I was at that restaurant at 4 o'clock in the morning sometimes, come home, sleep for like 30 minutes, get back up, do it all over again, trying to figure it all out, running on fumes. But I made it inspirational for my kids, and I'm grateful for that. But the level of sacrifice it takes in this business, that was a very hard balancing act for me. Um, Honestly, the publicity of it, because you gotta take everything. You have to take everything. I am a very extrovert, introverted person. So, with my people, my circle or half of a circle, I am all in, all day. Like I said, cuddles, love, hug on me, all the things. But that is now more out there and as tangible as I have to be, which is needed. It has woken up, honestly, a different level of anxiety that I didn't know I had to carry. Um, and I am now trying to learn how to balance that. And not because I don't love the people, because I do, but times I could introvert myself. I cannot do that always. And it becomes overwhelming because sometimes I'm like, am I doing enough, or this is way too much? Um, and sometimes boundaries are blurred, because people, they have their own way. And like I said, I want that to feel home, but it's not more so the people, is more so me trying to figure out how I have to boost on myself, because like I told you, I'm very empathetic. So I really take it on. Um, but I'm taking on like a lot of different, when before I used to take on maybe this and this over here and that over there. It's like 20 people at the same time. But I asked God for that. But now that He's actually bringing that on, now how do I carry it the right way? So for me, and for the type of business that I want, and the type of business, the base that I want it to be, that is challenging for me, because people don't see, and it's not for them to. They don't have to. And, I want no pity party or victimizing that or anything. But my anxiety level, transparently, has gone through the roof.
Well, I'm glad you got
It's
therapy.
gone. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
They love me. I love them.
Yes.
Hi. Hello. I text my, excuse me, I need an appointment right now. Help me. But because you, just like anyone, just like whoever the president is, let's go with Barack. We're going to go with him. President Barack, most powerful man in the world, but he needed somebody, right?
Yeah.
So just like a pastor, they're always preaching to others, but then they need someone to help fill their cup. A therapist, they are always giving and covering and advising someone, but then they also need someone to fill their cup so they can also help fill others, and that's just basically the same thing. But I've been in I was a nerd. I am a nerd. I'm a goofy little. People don't think I'm goofy all day long. Okay, bun, baggy clothes, oversized shirt, fun times. And so I have been in Durham since 2003 to 2007. I took a break and had to move to Atlanta, but I did what I needed to do, and I was home. And so then when I came back, I've been here for years before this business. I came back in 2018. No one fully knew me besides my close friends. So it's more public now. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, I love it. I love it. Come to Tipsy. I love it. But as a person, it's enhanced anxiety in me that I didn't know existed. And I have no problem being transparent about that. Because what you don't speak about, and then what you don't accept, you can't fix. Right. And if you don't learn, and if you don't grow, if you don't fix things, then you're stumping yourself and how far you can go in life. And so I'm not ashamed of it, but that's a really big thing for me. But I'm here, and it's good, and we keep it going.
I think all of that is going to help someone else who's doing any type of business. It applies to any industry, because we're all people at the end of the day. There's a person behind that business. There's a person who's behind that clothing line, restaurant, or whatever else. And like you said, treating people with kindness, because you don't know what they've been through. And recommending therapy. I always say that to everybody.
No shame. Please. I don't care. I was like, look, therapy. You want some suggestions? I have some for you.
Yeah,
not a problem.
Absolutely.
I'm there. No shame in my game, but I'm grateful for them.
Absolutely. I have one question that I always ask every guest, no matter what they do. And I just kind of word it in a way that kind of fits for what they do. So when you think about yourself as a business owner, as a restaurant owner, when you think like 10 plus years from now, what kind of legacy do you want to leave behind for the world and for your community around you?
I want, again, it's not the business, it's what she did. How did she impact us? What birthed from that business to do other things for our community? Like, that's the legacy that I want, that she stepped down on faith, not knowing anything, not even, this wasn't her plan on how she wanted to do things, and she did it, and it became impactful. Like, I want the legacy to be about the character, like you said, to face fears and to actually just go out there and to try and to do it. That would be the legacy that I want. If you ask me what I really want to do in life, I want to help women, especially young women, to know who they are, to become whoever it is that they want to be, to step in who they are and to own it and to step in the power that is already in them. That's what I want to do. I want to help our community, regardless of who they are, the homeless, kids that are lost, just whatever, to get back on track. There's just enough resources. Like, we should not have the poverty problem of people out on the streets to the point that they are. There is enough out there. Yeah. And let's tap into it. I want my legacy to be that part of really investing in the community. If Tipsy Bull is the start of that, great. But the legacy of however it is, that's what I want. I want that. And that would be my answer to that. So.
That's awesome. I think that's a beautiful answer. It's always about giving back and helping build up others. I love that. Well, I appreciate you for stopping by for the show today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I enjoyed this.
All right.
I appreciate it.
Well, until next time.
All right. Cool.